We was lied to. We was dupes. We was tricked. Right? We was hoodwinked. We was bamboozled, but we ain't never been no slave.
Mm-hmm. We definitely got hoodwinked. That's for sure. And
They trickery,
they
they trickery is amazing to me. But look at these years. You see the orange?
Yep. Right here.
Can you zoom in on that date?
1803.
Now remember, in 1863, 60 years later, right? This is when all these, okay, the Northwest Territory is all of the white, including Ohio. That's part of the Northwest Territory too. Right? But they showing you how they moving in and expanding from the east going to the west. But for some reason, who is in the west already? They tell you right there.
Spaniard.
Spain is already in the west. So why is Russia sending? Who is Russia sending the fight in the west? It can only thinking it's New York. But look a little closer. What do you see? There's so much stuff here. I can't go through all of the details because it'll be forever doing this. And the beavers, because they had beavers on the crest. Now let's go back and well, let's go through this paragraph first. Okay, and flour barrels, because they had flour barrels on the crest, signify the city's earliest trade goods. See history of New York City. The flour barrels and windmills represents the tremendous wealth generated by the New York City from the Bolting Act in 1674. Right? I thought that America was started in 1776. What this got to do with anything? So let's go a little deeper. The Dutch settlers actually arrived in the region in 1624. The town of New Amsterdam was incorporated in 1653. The English came in 1664. The Dutch governor, Peter Stuyvesant, surrendered. See? I told y'all we lost the war. Surrendered, signing the English documents on September the 8th, 1864, whereupon it was renamed New York. So it was originally New Amsterdam. But it wasn't until 1664. That's the mark of the beast, y'all. Same in degree. Same in form, different in degree. That's it. 3 6s. Blocking the lady. Look at 8. That's the princess. Whereupon it was renamed New York. The 300th anniversary of New York City was celebrated with the World's Fair in 1964 in Flushing Meadows with the borough of Queens. Within the borough of Queens. Now, that tell me Run DMC them gave me this clue because it say, from kings come queens, from queens come kings. We raising hell like a class when the school bell rings. So they sound that alarm to make me pay attention to Queens, where religious freedom was first recognized with the Flushing Remonstrance in 1657. A laurel wreath encircles the seal. A laurel wreath. Now, let's look that name up. Bay laurel. So let's go to Wikipedia. Let's get off into this. Now, remember in the eagle hen on the back of the dollar bill, it had what they told us was olive branches. But if you look a little bit closer, it looked like a couple of these. So it says Laurel nobilis is an aromatic evergreen tree or large shrub of green globular, smooth hairless leaves in the flowering plant family. It is native to the Mediterranean region. And is used as bay leaf for seasoning and cooking. Its common name include bay tree, bay laurel, sweet bay, true laurel, Grecian laurel, or simply laurel. Laurus nobilis. Nobilis mean noble, right? So we talk figures prominently in classic Greco-Roman culture. Now we're talking about Greco-Roman culture. We're talking about when the patriarchs took over in Rome. So they're telling us how it all take place. Worldwide, many other kinds of plants are diverse families are also called bay and laurel. Bays and eels. Bays and eels. Generally due to similarity of foliage or aroma to Laurel nobilis, the nobles, right? The Grail kings. So they can't distinguish the Moors from the Grail kings is what they telling us. And the full name is used for the California Bay Laurel. Look at that there. Look at that there. Motherfucking Tupac. Also in the family of the... Okay, let's go here. This is a matriarchal term, and I don't feel like getting that deep. But we almost done, because we can see what it is. Remember, it look like it say umbrella. So that tells me I should go here, because Jay-Z is tied to Rihanna, who always say, go under my umbrella. So let's see what the umbrella is. Umbrella californica is a large hardwood tree. Rodney means tree, y'all. Native to coastal forests of California as well as the coastal forests extending into Oregon. Origin to me, or Oregon, makes me think of Origin, which was the church before the Rome took over. And Origin is the first century Christian writer. Origen was a writer about the Queen Mother Isis. So when you go to the Stargate series, you see them in there fighting against first they was fighting against the Grail Kings of the Egyptians, and then they started fighting the Ori, which was short for Origin. It tell you right in the movie who they was fighting, which is what they call Christians. But they demonic Christians, which is actually the imposters. So they tell you the story on the Stargate. Right? They tell you the story on the Stargate. The tree's pungent leaves have similar flavor to bay leaves, though stronger, and they may be mistaken for bay laurel. Alright, we already went over that. The drywood. So the same thing. Right? Under the umbrella. But it got to be another clue here, or this is like going too far overboard. I gotta find something else in here that catches my attention. Alright, I see the word Native American, so now they got my attention. Umbrella has long been valued for its many uses by Native Americans throughout the tree's range, including Cahuilla, Chumash, Oolong. They're naming tribes right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tribes of people. That's the Ogdad. Now this is where, when I was looking at from Jillian, It it's these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, that's the 3 sixes again, which we didn't already uncover those. Both sets of 3 sixes. Um, it was something that it was tying back to Jillian again in there. But anyway, when we get down here, okay. Leaves were used to treat rheumatism and neuralgias. A tea was made from the leaves to treat stomach aches, colds, sore throats, and to clear up mucus in the lungs. The leaves were steeped in hot water to make an infusion that was used to wash sores. The Pomo and Yuki tribes of Mendocino County treated headaches by placing a single leaf in the nostril or bathing the head with laurel leaf infusion. No, that's not getting... No. So this, to me, this is what I would call a dead end with the tree. So the only semblance I would have chasing this laurel tree right now is the fact that my name means tree, laurel means Loris, or laurel mean tree, or you know what? Let's go to naming. Tell me to look under the umbrella. That's not telling me the meaning of the name. Okay. Laurel nobilis. So whoever Laurel is, she noble. The Bay Laurel, Latin Europe. Ah, there we go. The Latin Europe connection is the conquistadors, which was those Spanish-speaking Moors that were the mulattoes. I didn't want to do that. Okay. Now, what do we got? Did we make it all over? What's missing? Okay. Jillian produced the eye. Obadiah gave me the scarab. We found these in the seal for New York, which led us to uncover the 3 sixes and the other 3 sixes on the other page, right? Because those are 3 sixes too around there. So from here, there's nothing left to uncover. Nothing left to uncover. Y'all know the whole story now. You know, y'all know the law that tricked us into that got us trapped into the cycle in order for them to be able to trick us into the slave, what they call the POW camps, to put us in this oppressive condition and keep us in the apathetic state. It's the spell of Kingu. It's the spell of sleep. It's used to the blood rights and the pain rights. The molestation of the children, the raping of the women are all sorcery, ritualistic magic that they do to oppress people and to hold them down and subjugate them. Right? So, we can wrap this up here. I done brought y'all the whole kingdom. What you want to do with it? Somebody else turn now. That's my 3 knocks. That's all I got to say about that. And as the stock fall on the New York Stock Exchange for GM, is what y'all not knowing. Go check the Bitcoin holdings of General Motors and watch how they're rising. That's what you're not getting. It's a alchemical transfer. The worker gonna love this shit when it's all said and done. Because the way that it's set up is the Bitcoins are backed by gold that counts itself every few seconds, and you can't hack it because it counts the actual physical gold as opposed to the credits put into the slot machine by these imposters that they call money. So, contrary to popular opinion, and it look like the workers is suffering, and they are. They suffering. That's true. But they've been getting fucked so long, they got to go through a little bit in order to gain a lot. So, Detroit News Channel 7 is the place where I'm supposed to tell UAW members individually. All you need is about 3 public notices from 3 different areas. A cease and desist for the international UAW because all members are currently being investigated for corruption. It gives us no room or place to guarantee us a contract because there's no corporate legal team that's going to allow their client to sign on to a contract that's already dirty. It's dirty already. They can't do it. If all parties must come together, come to the table in good faith, then it can't sign this contract. The international is not coming to the table in good faith. They turned their back on the UAW, the common man, the hard-working, everyday common man. The international UAW got a little cartel of rats in there. Greedy, blood-sucking rats. I can't get them out until the people look at what's taking place in real time. Understand why they're getting fucked. Once it comes to their attention, oh, this is why we're getting fucked out of a contract, because these wicked motherfuckers are the imposters. These the traitors. Flip the traitor, draft the champion. Flip the traitor, draft the champion. It's just that simple. I got a price. $1.10 for GM workers, and I flip that shit over. $1.10 for Chrysler workers. I'll flip that shit over. $1.10 for Ford workers. I'll flip that shit over. I ain't done though, because we need to figure out a way where some of these single working mothers can have somebody have their back out of their local. It should be set up. So I work with a lady, beautiful lady, got 2 children and an asshole daddy for them. And they tell us we're not working overtime. Her baby about to come home from school on the bus. Nobody's going to be there over an hour. What a dream for a goddamn predator, ain't it? He got an hour head start if he get her as soon as she get off the bus before anybody realize the girl gone. Because she can't get anybody there in time to get her daughter. We can't do that. So on behalf of the single mothers, Ford, GM, and Chrysler, bring a penny. One single mother, from all of them, bring 1 penny. So what you realize I have is $3.33. And this shit to be cleaned up. I will flip the imposter, drag their ass out in the open, and clean up the workers' situation. I done flipped imposters all over the place. I got all my receipts. I took my left bumps and I took my right bumps. I bump straight every fucking time. It's proven beyond a reasonable doubt with preponderance of evidence as the weighing mechanism. that I know what I'm talking about. The GM Ford Chrysler situation is what you call a gateway. If you have a job, you want them to win. You want the worker to win. I don't care if you work at McDonald's, if you're a school teacher in Chicago, if you're a bus driver in New York, if you're a taxi driver in Miami. I don't care if you shovel shit in Mississippi on the backwoods of a farm. If you have a work job to generate your income that's supposed to sustain your life, you should probably want this contract to go in the favor of the worker. It will set off a chain reaction. From ground zero, the fallout will be a balancing across global scale of all workers. Everybody got a job, a benefit by resolving this matter. A lot of people don't think it makes sense until they analyze it and they know what the law say. Nobody don't want to ask their lawyer about if somebody is under investigation for criminal activity in a contract negotiation prior. Then another contract negotiation come up. Can that person in the active investigation negotiate that contract? The lawyer gonna say, well, he can. There's a whole lot of other shit attached to that, but I'm not sure if the other party's gonna participate if they know that they're under investigation, because that's called coming to the table in bad faith. It's a bad faith negotiation. And at any given time, if the other party do sign on, they can always flip out of the contract by saying that it was a bad faith negotiation, the contract here. So I just tell the people that's African, hey, the Africans is claiming they shit back over there. We claiming our shit back over here. Why don't y'all go assist them in claiming they shit back, and you won't be begging for reparations? Because it's not going to happen, because once you get your shit back, the people who had your shit can't pay you reparations unless they get it out of your coffers.
What you mean unless they get it out of your coffers? What's that? What do you mean?
They owe us everything because everything was already ours. They hijacked what was ours and used it against us.
Okay.
They took all of the stuff that was taught to them and used it against us, and we forgot we taught it to them.
All right, I got one more question, Rod. I know that was supposed to be the last one, but I forgot. You said you don't always do this.
I'm with you, brother Rich. We just topping it up. You help. Look at your hat. You help. We help.
Hey, what this means to you, Rod? This, because I remember you talking about.
I just told you. I mean, you help. We help. That means if you start off on your project, we gonna help you along.
Excellent.
We're going to do what we can to support you because you're doing what you can to inform us.
Oh yeah. And shout out, by the way, shout out to everybody who joined the Patreon or was on the Patreon. Rod did an amazing lecture on Patreon about the whole this Kendrick Lamar Drake situation, and
among other things that you can't talk about on YouTube.
Many other things that you can't talk about on YouTube. So it was a heavily a conversation that would just get taken down. So we had to put that one especially on Patreon. So if you're interested in that conversation, head on over to Patreon. Black Magic 363 is spelled the same way as this channel. It's called They Not Like Us. You know, the same name as Kendrick's song, They Not Like Us. So you could check that out over on Patreon. Amazing conversation I had. But I gotta end tonight's conversation. I gotta ask you this, Rod, because you sent me a clip and the shit was wild. They was talking about these beings, pre-Adamite beings, took the moon, I guess, wrapped it up and flung the shit toward the earth. All types of wild shit. Then they was talking about beings living on the moon, on the base of the moon, using it as a ship to observe Earth. What the hell was they talking about? And I know I'm not even explaining it as proper as it was. I forgot. I just remembered it right now. But what the hell was they talking about? Who took the moon, and was this some shit and Lil did where he took the moon and flung it toward Earth and then decided to live on the moon? What the hell was that you sent me, Rod? What was they talking
Look,
about?
remember, I keep telling you the moon wasn't always there,
Yes, yes. And you also
right?
talk about Lilith moon, the original moon.
Right.
Yeah.
So they put an artificial moon up there, and it's a battleship.
It's a battleship.
Remember, we went over that,
Yes.
and the moon will take off and leave if shit get thick, and it's required. Its service is required. But in the meantime, it's tied to the Dark Knight satellite to protect a hologram through the Van Allen belt. You can suppress the energy easier remotely than you can if you try to do it while you in it.
Mm. So without the moon and without the Dark Knight satellite, this matrix wouldn't exist. This hologram wouldn't exist. Is that what you're saying?
This the 3D override. The 3D will still be here. But what would happen is all of the things that they've used to suppress the inner divinity of the people of the planet would not work on them anymore. That's all. And they would be able to have different abilities. And then they'll remember not only that they have them, but how to use them. But you had to keep the God beings subjugated using science and spiritual science merged.
You ever I don't know if I asked you this before. You ever do, people talk about sun gazing. So you never do moon magic, Rod? You never tap into the energy of the moon?
Yeah. The sisters learned how to use the moon for moon magic in modern yoni magic. Because they realized what it was for, they started learning how to harness it and to use it as the silver key, which is oracle reading. So they're able to use the light of the moon and transmute that energy into information streams that they can pick up as an intuitive download.
Right.
That's what the Salem witch hunts was about. When they caught Big Mama teaching the settlers' daughters yoni magic. Some of them had got into a euphoria and went into a dancing frenzy, and it became contagious because once the mitochondrial is turned up to its highest capacity, anybody that have residue of mitochondria in them will be activated. And if you didn't do your work, you're going to be negatively activated.
With so much of the population focused on the moon, if there are beings on the moon, do you think we can affect their well-being by moon gazing? Like, do they ever be like, how like sometime when the sun's shining us, we like, oh shit, people put on sun, or Europeans put on suntan lotion. Like, if we focus our sun energy on the moon, do beings on the moon be like, oh shit, I gotta cover myself, these niggas is moon gazing? Some wild shit like that.
No, because the moon is projecting on a higher frequency than you can project back at it. And the highest frequency always trumps the lower frequencies. That's the design of the lunar rays.
Oh yeah.
The women can transmute the energy, and the men can learn to use it if they learn how to use their intuition. Because it's that energy, they had to have some positive to go along with the negative in order for the balancing act to take place that they call the orbiting of the earth.
Right.
It got to be in perfect balance. This is the pulling on the tides.
Right. Man. Family, tell me this ain't some interesting shit here, y'all. Wow. All right. Last question, Rod. I swear this is the last one. What was your thoughts? We in so-called 2024 now. When 2012 came around, how did you look at that? How did you interpret this whole 2012? And because you started out the year in the golden age talking about that. How did you interpret this all the 2012 talk when it was going down, Rod?
They was discussing the Mayan calendar as the cause because it ended in 2012, right? The irony of it is the 1776 Conjure of the Blood of Crispus Attucks expired July the 4th, 1976. The problem was the War 1812 gave them an extension into the year 2012 because the tribes took the Dirty Moors back to bloody war, and they wasn't supposed to do that. We were supposed to educate ourselves out of the condition. So the dates was telling me that the contract can be refused after the Mayan calendar goes back to its next cycle, which is the next time it come to an end. We'll be having a different conversation about something different then, Brother Rich, but it'll look similar to what we're doing now.
Right. Somebody just reminded me, somebody in the chat, because they brought up Terrence Howard, and I forgot to ask you one of the things Terrence Howard, not only on Joe Rogan, but one of his main talking points is him talking about nature's curves and how there's no straight lines. Now, I was taught, and a lot of us was taught about the platonic solids, and those are the building blocks of life. What's your thoughts on him saying all that's bullshit? They didn't take into consideration ether and other elements, and that there's no such thing as straight lines, the platonic solids, whatever. Everything is curvature. What's your thoughts on him talking about that?
That's correct. That's what they say in the nation. That's all wise, right, and exact.
Yeah.
Right. The science is okay. If you look at the platonic solids, this is impressions in the two-dimensional description. But if you can turn it into a 3D image, it won't be the same. This is when they call it, when you can do it in your brain, they call that activating your holographic memory. That's what Nikola Tesla did. So you examine it not from the two-dimensional, which is on the paper, or the one-dimensional. You now can examine it in 3D. Once you see it in 3D, it'll activate a frequency in the brain. All of those symbols do that. But even like the Holy Sephira, we look at it as a flat tree. But when you look at it as a three-dimensional projection, you begin to download more data in your understanding of how it works. And it'll carry a frequency that activates certain energies in your chromosomes.
Indeed. Yeah, man. Listen, man, I would love to have a talk. Everybody keeps telling me to get Terrence Howard on the show. I would love to have a brother. I talked about it in January, having a brother on the show. So if anybody knows the brother, I would absolutely love to have the brother on the show and kick it with the brother. Have him and Rod on the show. So yeah, if anybody knows Terrence, man, I would love to have a conversation and talk to the brother. You know, definitely. Oh man, Rod, man, this man, shit, man, this some powerful shit here, man. This some powerful. You know, let me ask you this. What do you think about? Because you talk a lot about the divine feminine energy, and sometimes let me just use it as an example. Sometimes when we see things happening, we think it's a conspiracy theory, and it may be universal synchronicity. So say you say a certain word, and as you say a certain word, the time on the clock says 11:11. Some people will be like, oh,